Alright, welcome back. Today, I'm going to be trying to fix our vulture flapping problem. We need to default to wings up when we're just in the air, and then every time we flap or jump, we need to switch to that downwards one in our vultures. It's just not right. And we're getting that weird kind of... It's like, it's fine when they're moving right, but when they're moving left, it just kind of like squishes for some reason. So I'm kind of curious. We don't have anything really different for which direction they are, so that's kind of not reassuring. We need to find any time we set the viewport and look at what we're doing. So this one's fine because it's spawning. If we're not grounded, okay, so here's where we're messing shit up. Let me just look. Okay. Standing still viewport. See, I think some of these are overriding the others. Like, I feel like this one's probably overriding some stuff. But maybe not. I don't think the vultures can skid at the moment. So I might just take that out completely. There is an ostrich, or there is a... See, there is a vulture skid animation in the sprite sheet, sprite atlas. But I don't think I've seen it actually happen. That's not what I wanted. Okay, so it seems like there's not too many that could be messing up. You know, this one is saying... You know, let me just like... I'm gonna turn these two off. And then I want to turn this one off and see what's left. Like, see what sprites are being drawn here. See, I didn't expect... Not much has changed, to be honest, taking those 3 viewports out. So it's like, I think we're overriding some stuff somewhere. Gosh, the wobbly looks so weird when they're moving left. It didn't always happen. That's so weird. Sometimes they will look fine walking left, and then sometimes they got the wobbly stuff going on. Okay. I'm gonna take the skid out, because I think it's unnecessary. And then... Not grounded. See, so if I take this out, do we have wings up in the air when vulture's jumping? Yes. So it needs to default to that, basically. God dang, and then we're getting the weird bouncing problems. Okay. Okay. If self dx is not 0. Okay, so this line. If dx is not 0 and we're grounded. So it's almost like we don't have. Oh, you know what? So this x offset is the x offset, the current frame. Shit, so where's our self frame? Okay. Okay. So I think instead of setting the viewport to this stuff, we need to be using this x offset. We need to be switching our frame number and then using the x offset. And the x offset has the width times the current frame. I still don't get why we need the -1 to draw it properly, but we added that and it fixed some of our problems yesterday. So I think we need to control our self frame. You know, it's like this. This needs to be called once at the end. Well, no, because I think both of these lines need to be outside of this if statement, because we don't want to just set our x offset if we're moving and grounded. We want to set our x offset for whatever frame at any given time. So like we need to be able to say, hey, if we're not moving, self frames is 1, then outside of that block say, by the way, set your x offset according to that frame, and then set your viewport according to your x offset. God dang, this is getting complicated. But basically, we had a Boolean called jumping to determine how often to jump, but then we had a field called flapped that would be a timer for how long to play the downward flap. And it's just like 1 or 2 frames worth. This is tough, dude. I want to make sure I'm still recording. Yeah. Okay. So, instead of all this stuff, hold on. I'm trying to think if we get rid of all the times we set our viewport and instead just assign our frame here, if that would work. Like, there's not too much code for this, which is nice. So maybe let me double check that our vulture sprite starts with 1 pixel free on the left side. Because if it doesn't, we just need to figure that out, because I don't get why it's doing that wobbly action. Okay, yeah, so the first 2 frames actually have 2 pixels. Okay. Ah, fuck. That makes me... That's like a half good, half bad feeling, because it's like, it's probably why we're shifting weird. But it doesn't... That means that our previous fix of shifting the viewport to the left 1 frame actually doesn't work. I'm gonna see how many seconds are in a 60th of a second. It's 0.016, so that times 2 would give us a 0.03. Let's round that up to 0.04. Hey, we did pretty good. You know, we tried to... 0.04 would mean about 2 frames, and we had put 0.05, which is a really good guess. But we need to do this different. So what if... Yeah, see how this viewport didn't need the -1, whereas... Where did we do the -1? Right here. That we're setting our x offset to be -1. See, but we only use our x offset if we're grounded and walking. So yeah, so I think that has something to do. I think this has something to do with the wobbling problem we're getting. But if we change that, if we take out that minus, see how we're getting that flickering now? That flickering upon being grounded? Oh, come on. Turn. Oh, you. There. See that flickering? Because it's not drawing... Shit, okay. That means something's wrong in our x offset. Logic. So the thing is, this x offset should be 0 when we're on frame 1. So if we're on frame 1 minus 1 is 0, 0 times width is 0, 0 plus frame is 1. So if it's frame 1, yeah, we do need the -1 here. Well, yeah. Fuck. It's almost like if we had this where frame 1 should actually be 0 because we're setting our x offset to our frame, and we want on frame 1 to have a 0 offset. So I think we need to change that. And the frame, how does the frame work here? Yeah, frame is bigger than the total frames. So, where are our total frames? We only have it in the init, and it's 4 total frames. Now, as far as the walking's concerned, that's true. So let's just say total frames is actually 3, because we are actually, let's keep it at 4, but we'll actually change the greater than or equal to. If subframe is, wait, frame starts at 1. Subframe is bigger than the total frames. So right now it's 4, so if our frame is 5, then loop it back to frame 1. But we want to have self-frame be equal to 0, so we're trying to see if it's Yeah, I think we just need to change our total frames to 3 because we're zero indexing the X offset. So let us go to it's see, where are we even touching this flap counter? We're initializing it. If our jump counter is positive, see, that's why we're messing up here. We're setting it up here. We need to set our flap counter down here and say if we're jumping, then fuck, no, how do we do it? Let me put it back here and just count it out for now. But this was doing it wrong. This was setting the flap counter to be equal to a positive number anytime jump counter was true, which is why we weren't ever switching. So that makes sense, but we need something different. Okay. I'm worried tweaking with the frame and the X offset stuff is gonna mess everything up, but we gotta try something. I don't like that wobbly movement, and I think it's from the X offset being wrong. So oh my god. Holy shit. We need to initialize jump or flap counter. We need to initialize flap counter upon jumping. So where do we take it out here? So if we're jumping, we take that. See, so we need yeah, we need to do this differently. Fuck. It's so tricky, I can't even really explain what I'm thinking right now. It's just how I implemented jump counter, where it jumps only after the time is done. When do we set jumping to false if... Fuck. Jumping isn't the right word for it. Flap counter should really be flap timer, and jump counter should really be flap counter. And jumping should be flapping. I think. But when you get so many variables like this, hard to keep all those things separate. So I think jump counter needs to be jump timer. I think... let me write this down. I'm gonna forget this shit. I think jump counter actually needs to be flap timer. So jump counter into flap timer. And then jumping to flapping. And then flap counter to... This is different. Because there's two different things we're trying to time. We're trying to time the distance in between how many flaps, you know, like flapping once every or flapping twice every second. And then we need, you know, it's almost like, let me look at our ostrich and look at our jumping and look at our time for the jumping. Like, how did we do the downwards flap here in our ostrich? Okay. So where do we do flapped? So right here we're doing the same idea where we're saying, in our ostrich's case, A getting pressed is the same as our jump or our flapping becoming true. So I was using this self-flapped. Hold on, let me see if I use this self-flapped anywhere. I don't think I need this. We're setting flap to true. So look, if we're in the air, we default to wings up in our ostrich. Then if A is pressed, flapped is true. Then if flapped is true, we actually update our viewport to be the downwards one. And then we have this self-jump timer. So flapped is true. We increase our jump timer. Okay. Okay, so I need to do something like this for our vulture. Now, what did our vulture look like for this? Where we were doing the two different viewports right here. We had them in the same if statement. That's where we messed up, because we need to overwrite the default upwards wings with the downwards wings. So if they're in the same block like this, they can't overwrite one another. So we need to make it like our other one. So okay, fuck. Now we're... See, I'm wondering if we should really... I want to say in our ostrich, we would move all this to be the very end. And then we would change this to be the X offset instead of this times 4 plus 4. But... I see the problem, though. I see the problem. So it's hard because love treats everything in a big rectangle, but in order to fix our drawing problem, I gave a pixel of buffer in between every sprite, but that throws off the width of all these sprites. It means that our X offset needs to have one more pixel for, you know, for every frame it's on. Except for 0, because I fucked that one up. 0 needs none, 1 needs 1. Is that right? Oh, it's hard to say. Let's try something exactly like this, where we manually set the viewport if we're not grounded, and then if jumping is true, we get... Fuck. We'll have to figure it out. God damn. This is the hardest thing I've ever tried to do, I think, guys. Like, my mind is just really trying here. It's hard to hold this shit in my head. So yeah, we want to do something like this, where we say, hey, if we're in the air, default to up. Then if we're jumping or flapping or whatever you want to call it, we need to call it something. So look, we're only testing for this jump timer if we're actually flapped or jumped. So, you know, that should probably be called flap timer, but it's scary to change things once you've got them working in one way, because you don't want to bust it, but we need to do something different. Oh my god, guys, I'm getting like sick looking at this. I'm getting like... Okay, here. Okay, no, this is where I was trying to do that same sort of idea, right? Where we're setting the default viewport. Wow, guys, it's hard for my mind to focus right now because it's just like... It's just very difficult. I think I want to rename some stuff. So let's go through and see what things we need to rename. We're not doing shit with flap counter right now, but... Okay. So we do have a self.jumping. Dude, what? Okay, we have a self.jumping that we're hardly using. If our jump counter is smaller than 0, then we're gonna jump. Then we're gonna set our random seed. We're gonna assign our jump counter a new value. Okay, so then if we're jumping, I can't wrap my head around this. Okay, so jumping flag is true. This is... Where are we assigning our DX? Why isn't that with this stuff? I mean our DY. Yeah, why do we have this all the way here? like we need to put this with our jumping. Okay. Right here. So look, if we're jumping, we're not grounded. Oh, okay, here's another problem. Fuck. So here if we're jumping, we don't want to do this. We don't want to do this. Because right here we're assigning upwards velocity anytime jumping is true, but we don't want to do that. We only want to assign the upward velocity upon jumping becoming true. Like right here. Because we only want it to jump once, basically. Anytime you jump, you flap once, right? So that'll fix that. And then if we're jumping, might as well set our grounded to false. Then we can get rid of this. Okay, so now if jumping is true, we're not going to be grounded. We're going to decrement our flap counter, and if our flap counter... Fuck. This isn't quite right. But yeah, we need to... Okay, I got an idea. I mean, we need to do it just like how we did for the other one and say right here, if we're not grounded. But look, this is only if our dx is greater than 0, not equal to 0 rather. Is our ostrich, is this one nested in? It is nested inside the walking and grounded. So vulture walking animation, okay. Excuse me. So look, we'll set our frame to 1. Now that we only have 3 frames, that means this for loop, or this, we'll reset it. So that should get us to not be chopping off the butt. Well, okay. Not feeling too good about that. Oh lordy. Okay. It's really hard for me to wrap my head around this. If it's 4, goes back to 0, x offset immediately will be 0. So where are we messing up? Like if we go back to this being 1, and we go back to this being, oh, hold on, that was 0. Let's go back and fix that. God dang, where was I just? Where was I just? Here, yeah. I think this now needs frame is 1. this needs to be reset to 0. Let's try that. That's beyond jacked. I'm gonna set this back. Like, that shouldn't change it. That shouldn't change it. Not sure what's going on. But we're just gonna change it back and see if that fixes the problem. Okay, well, I'm confused why that was messing up so hard then. But what do we do? We need to get walking working first of all, right? Like, walking should be figured out by now. So anytime we have dot frame, so look, we're standing still, we want the first frame. And then if we're walking, we increment the frames based on the animation timer. Now, does this self alternate? Where do we even use that? That's only for our sounds. For our footstep sounds, which our vultures don't have, so we can just get rid of that. Because we only needed the alternate to keep track of which footstep sound to play, or to play the footstep sound upon one. You know what? I'm gonna open up our freaking I'm gonna open up both of our sprite tables, and I'm gonna just get them to be the same, like pixel buffer wise, whatever you want to call it. We're gonna open our Joust Atlas and our Vulture Atlas. There's our Vulture Atlas. We're gonna open our Joust Player Atlas. Is that the one we're using, Player 2? Go to our main. We can see that our Player Atlas is Joust Player Atlas 2. Cool. So, if you look at the dimensions, we're at 119 by 24, and we're 119 by 24. But what's the difference? We start on the very left here, and we have 1 pixel of buffer for our player. So I'm gonna change this so that we're consistent. Yeah. Okay, now I'm gonna save this. I'll save. So that just overwrote. Wait. Oh no. Is that not Vulture Atlas 2? I thought I opened Vulture Atlas 2. Or no, Player Atlas 2. Okay, we're okay. So I'm just gonna make sure if I open Vulture Atlas, we're getting that pixel on the left side, and we are. So now I wanna see if we're getting that weird issue. Now we're getting... We're still getting that wobbly effect. See, what's weird is I can't get that wobbly effect on my character. So I'm wondering what I did differently in their logic that's giving them the wobble and not giving me the wobble. But Let's see our code now that we fixed that. That was a long overdue fix. So yeah, on frame 1, this would be 0. So self frame gets, or X offset gets. Oh, see, this is fucked up. No, this is perfect because our X offset should be 1 on the first frame. Because we don't draw our first pixel till 1 frame in, so that should be perfect. We do need... I mean, does the walking look better? We still get the weird warpy bits, don't we? Yeah. Especially in the air. Walking right looks fine, walking left does not. Is that the case? Do you kind of see what I'm talking about? Like, they kind of squish? Yeah. Not exactly sure where we're fucking this up. If we... let's keep walking this out. So on frame 2, we get a 1 with width times 1, 2 frame offset plus the width of 1. It's... yeah, that should be right. I don't get why we're wobbling. We're not doing anything different. The only thing I can say is we don't have the 1 and 1 here. I'm gonna look at our ostrich and see if we do have that. Yeah, we do. I want to see if that actually fixes the wobbly bit. Nope. I'm just so confused that walking right looks fine and walking left is busted. And actually, fuck. Boy, it's so bad. I'm noticing just errors because if you look at our butt, we should have 2 green pixels at the end of our vulture. The first 2 frames, but not all the frames. Fuck. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna put like a bright ass pink color on the leftmost side of the ostrich or the vultures, so I can make sure we're rendering the assmost side of our vultures. So this will only be temporary, but I can't tell if we're rendering this right or not. So if I save this, run the same code. So, okay. So yeah, it does look like we are rendering the ass of every vulture correctly. I'm gonna put a line on the very front to make sure. And the thing is, I'm not gonna overwrite this one. I'm gonna save this as another PNG. I'm just sick of like not knowing where the boundaries on these are, or if it's drawing correctly, you know. So I'm gonna do a export of a vulture atlas to PNG, and then I'm gonna check that it exported, and it did. And then I'm gonna go into my main.lua and import my second vulture atlas instead, and we're already in pics. Okay, so let's see. So for whatever reason, when we're aerial, it's not drawing the pink line, which is wrong. But that doesn't, I mean, like, I'm trying to figure out why it looks like it's wobbling when they're moving to the left like that, and I cannot figure out why it's doing that. If it's drawing, you know, I'm seeing the pink line throughout, so I don't see why it would be wobbly like that. We're seeing the pink ass and the pink front, totally fine. Okay. So yeah, that little gap is the reason we have been needing to do that weird width times its frame plus its offset of its frame. I'm just so baffled why it looks like it's shrinking sometimes. Did I not overwrite this? Oh god, I overwrote. Fuck. I did not want to do that. Fuck. Sorry guys, I need to save that. I wanted to overwrite my vulture atlas too. My bad. Okay, just bear with me while I do this again, sorry. I'm just so confused why it looks like it's shrinking like that. What's weird is it looked like it got worse on the ones that were particularly bad when they were jumping, and that was confusing to me. But see, look how see, I shouldn't. Sometimes when they're in the air, they don't draw the front one at all, but sometimes they do, which is just wild. Yeah. See, look at that wiggly. See the pink line kind of getting thinner? It shouldn't be getting thinner like that. It should be a solid pink line. Let's figure out what's going wrong when we're in the air. And enemy collisions. and grounded. Okay, here. So look, if we're not grounded, we default to this. So look, frame 5 would be our width times 5 plus 5 pixels of offset. That should be right. I'm going to do one less pixel of offset and see if that draws the front. That's trash. What? It did it for a little bit. Oh god. This is in our ostrich. It's like for right now, if they're in the air, I just want to draw frame 5 and get it consistent, you know? So if we're grounded, do all this. If not grounded, set to frame 5. See, that's what it should be doing. So if I take out the X offset, does that draw a wonky in the air? Yeah. Okay. So this wonky one in the air should be offset by, see, frame 1 should have a 1 offset, and frame 5 should have a 5 offset. So why doesn't that math check out? Because if you look at when we're in the air, we're not always drawing that front pink line when we should be. Sometimes we do. But when we're facing right, we don't. When we're facing left, we seem to. That shouldn't be a difference. Because we don't have a viewport set depending on which way we're being drawn. See, why do we need this self.width here at the end? Do we have that in our ostrich? We do. Why do we have that? What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th argument to our draw. 8th argument. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Shear X. We don't need that shit. Let me see if we taking it out of our ostrich messes anything up. I don't think it should. We do need it. Okay. We do need it. So only on the flipped we need it. But we are doing it for our vulture, no? Only when we're flipped. Yeah. Okay. I've got no idea why it's drawn the wrong one. You know what? This might be a rounding error. This might be a rounding error for our Y position, but yeah, it might be a rounding error. I don't know how to check that though. You know, does that mean we can just floor whatever our current X is and fix that. Oh yeah. Doesn't make any sense that the thickness of the lines would be different. Because it's only 1 pixel, so how would it be drawing a skinny version of 1 pixel is the weird thing that I don't get. That looks like it fixed it. I don't see the weird shaky stuff anymore. We still need to fix the aerial and then the flap, obviously, but so it's like our jumping, our aerial jumping viewport needs to be shifted. Let me see what a +3 gives us in the air. Okay, so we need 1 more pixel than we thought, now that we gave ourselves that plus at the beginning. Okay, that's looking right now. The bouncing is still fucked. The landing is still fucked when he bounces. We're not getting the weird shaky thing anymore, which I'm really happy about. Cool. Okay. So far we've fixed a problem. We've fixed 1 problem, that weird wavy thing. But that's it. I need to use the bathroom. I'll be right back. About to do. Yeah, part of me still thinks I should, instead of setting the viewport here, I would just set the frame. So say frame 5, and then we would say frame, the X offset is the current frame plus 1, and then we just draw our current frame plus its offset at its location. Or, no. I mean, we would just set the viewport like that. Which I think I should do. It's just daunting. Okay, what should we try? What should we do? Our spawning viewport is fucked. Because if you look, we don't spawn with the pink. So our spawning viewport needs to be shifted by R1. Okay. That's looking okay. Okay. What are we trying to do? I guess let's work on the flapping now. We said we were going to change jump counter to flap timer. Does that make sense? But then we have... Oh, God. It gets so confusing. Because I'm trying to change variable names to variable names I already have. So as I update them, I'll come to a word that needs to be changed, but is the right name for another thing that I could be referencing. Then I could just screw everything up. Easy, but okay. Let's just walk through it. Jump counter should probably be called jump timer, right? Because we're not trying to count jumps or anything. We're trying to set how often we can jump. So let's rename jump counter to jump timer. So we'll do find and replace. Every jump counter. Okay. We're going to replace that with jump timer. Wait a second. See, we already have a jump counter, so we gotta change that first. Jump counter needs to be jump timer. Isn't that what I just did? Okay. Okay, I think I got confused because the note kept one. Like when I did a find and replace. If you go to find replace, jump counter for jump timer. I find all. Nope. Replace. Jump counter with jump timer. Replace all. Okay. I don't know how I deleted that. So this jump timer variable is a countdown until when we're jumping. Then once we're jumping, we have a flap counter. That should be called flap timer. So if we say, if we're jumping, set our upwards flap wing viewport. No. Okay, we need a flapping. We need a flapping variable. We've got a flapped is true. That just isn't doing anything at the moment. So we do have... See, this isn't right though. This isn't right. We don't want it to be nested in this. It needs to be outside of this. So if we're... I'm going to copy this flapped, but go back to our... God, where was it? You know, if flap counters greater than 0, then our flapped is true. That's freaking just straight up wrong. Right? Why was that in here? We need to set our jumping flag to false upon something. And we set our jumping... See, these can't be tethered together. They need to be separated. Because when we can only be flapping if we're jumping, but... Oh my god. So jumping is just the name for when we're assigning our upwards velocity. See, so this is kind of wrong, because it's like, let's say this jump timer had 30 seconds instead of 3, then jumping would get jumping would get set equal to true, and then it wouldn't be flushed until that 30 seconds is up, but we could have landed by that time. So like, what the heck is jumping really keeping track of? Jumping is initially setting the variable, but we're also saying if we're jumping, we need to, if jumping and flap counter is greater than 0, see, when are we incrementing, or when... Hold on. See, but the thing is, we don't need to ask if we're jumping because flap counter can only be greater than 0. If we're jumping, or if we have jumped. I don't think... You know what? Hold on. Let me undo this. Let me just take this out and see if that screws any of the jumping logic. No. Okay, so we might be able to get away with just doing this. So we're gonna, if flap counter is greater than 0, we're gonna decrement it. Then if it's smaller than 0, no, we need to say in like an else, you know. See, we don't want that. We don't want that. We want it. Because flap counter is going to be. Oh, fuck. Okay. Okay. So. See, this is wrong. Hold on. It's like we need, if flap counter is greater than 0, then we need to say, hey, that means we're flapped. But can't we do that once we assign our flap counter? Meaning, yeah, I think this needs to go here. And then if flap counter is greater than 0, decrement flap counter. Otherwise, meaning it's smaller than 0, we're just going to set our flap counter back to 0. And then, now, we need to say if we're flapped, you know, see, this is what we were getting at. We don't need to do this anymore. We can say if we're not grounded, update our Y position, and we set our default. Needs a 1. So yeah, if not self-grounded, we default to there, but if we're flapping, we need to overwrite why did I do that? We need to overwrite it with the downwards flap viewport. What are we printing exactly on this ostrich? Jumping. So how about if we just print if you're flapped, so we can debug that a bit, because flap should be getting set to true upon jumping, and it's not. Yes, it is, but it's, God, that's so jacked. Okay, so what's going on with our flap? Why is our flap so busted? Was I adding, did I do that? Was I changing? I'm just like, I did it differently. Oh, I feel sick. I just want to see if my ostrich is still working. See, because this flap could probably afford to be one more frame. So our flap here. Oi, 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 oi. Tight. So flapped. So where do we say? If we make it twice as long, it should flap twice as long upon pressing. That looks wrong. But what if it's in the middle? You know what? Point one is where it's at, because it's just how I get the most consistent results. So if we're not grounded, if we're flapped, then we're setting that. That's exactly what we're doing here. Wait, what the fuck? I turned that off? What the fuck is going on? Did I overwrite this? There's gotta be a... There's gotta be... Okay. Flapped is never getting wiped. So, but it should be. What the fuck, dude? We have another thing that's screwing us. Not grounded. We set our thing to... Okay, now frame 5 is fucked. Do we really need that extra offset? Gotta see more of our flapped logic, I think. Okay, so jumping is gonna be true. Oh, yeah. See, this is wrong. This is wrong. How do we assign our ostrich's dy upon a jump? Well, you know, it's like we need one instance of it. We need... If we look at our dy on our ostrich, we only set it upon a press of A. Well, I mean, we use it a lot, but we only really, where is our jumping? Is right there. We're assigning our dy. Oh god. But yeah, if A is pressed, we give it that. But the thing about this that's different is, was pressed just checks for the previous frame of input, which oftentimes you're only pressing it for a couple frames. Whereas here, in our vulture, we are doing it different. Okay. See, look at this. I think we don't need this shit. This is where I think that's where things might have been getting overwritten. I'm looking for that flap, man. Flap of the downward wing. Needs to get reset. It doesn't get reset. It should be getting reset. So we're assigning our flap counter to be just over 2 frames worth of delta time. And we're becoming flapped is true. Yeah, let me print up the flap counter. Let me print up the flap counter and make sure that's decrementing to 0 like I want. It's not. It's not. That means jumping is set to true. This is the same pairing issue because our flap counter is getting set to 04 every time our jump timer is over here. So we only need to set our flap counter upon being flapped. So if flapped is true, if we're flapped, then that means we have a timer, and then this is where we need to decrement our flap counter. Setting our flap counter equal to 4. See, this isn't right. This is the same freaking problem. Because if our boolean is true on flapped, you know what? We need to set it. Oh, fuck. How do we do this? This is the same problem. Because if our boolean is true, we just flapped. We only need to decrement. Fuck it. feel like using jump timer like this is the reason it's wrong. I mean, like, that's given us all these problems. Because jump timer is really like time in between jumps. You know, the timer to trigger a new jump. It's getting us into all sorts of trouble. Because we don't want to give ourselves a negative dy anytime jump timer is greater than 0, because that means if our jump timer happens to be a long one, then yeah, we do that. We need to, I know what we need to do. We need to put this dy into, so look, we'll say, you know, if jumping is true, then set our dy and then set our jumping back to false, you know? That's how we have to do it. Same with the flap. So flapped, like we need to say if flapped, then set our God damn it. This is in our ostrich class. We had it better. We had just like this where we say, so how do we use jump timer in this one? If A is pressed, jump timer is 0. If we're flapped, so A sets flap to true. Once flapped is true, then we decrement our jump timer. If jump timer is smaller than something, we're no longer flapped. So if we're flapped, we do the viewport, decrement our jump timer. Okay, so what if we had, now we're using jump timer differently in this function. Our jump timer in this function is really time in between jumps. So maybe I change that and then do a jump timer actually for our vulture. And then we try to do it the same way so that we can set these things appropriately. Because the problem is we were setting our dy if we were jumping, but jumping could be many seconds long. Our jump timer could have been multiple seconds long, and that doesn't help us. Shit, okay. Let's change our vulture's jump timer. So we're going to go to jump timer, just like we did. And then we're going to replace with new jump timer, or time in between jumps, like why did it do this? There we go. We need to find. God dang it. The flapping is working. Do you see that? It starts as 0.02. The flapping is working now. At least the viewport isn't, but the... Dude, that's it. The flapping is starting to work. Yeah. The downward wing is the first frame upon a jump. That's it. That's it. And you can see it doing faster. So let's try the let's try back here where we say now we give ourselves a bunch of values, most of them really fast, but some of them up to even 3 seconds long, or very few of them up to 2 or 3 seconds long. Fuck. It's busted again. Why would that make it different? Fuck. That's so much closer. Yes. I don't get why adding more values here made it. Like maybe the 0.1 is what was screwing us. See, why is that? I think the 0.1 for some reason messes with our flapped. Oi. So look, if we're flapped, we set our flap counter. See, okay, this is what's wrong. We need to set our flap counter upon jumping being true. And then decrement our flap counter if flapped. If flap counter is smaller than 0, flap counter gets 0. If we're flapped, we decrement flap counter. If we're jumping, we give ourselves an initial velocity and then stop jumping. And then if we're flapped, we want to reset flap to false only when flap counter gets decremented below 0. So if flap counter is smaller than 0, we reset our flap counter to false, or our flapped to false rather. And I changed the dy to be twice as strong now, so they should jump twice as high, just for testing purposes. I'll probably switch it back. Oh. That's it. Okay, now we're putting back on our old one, which should be a lot of flapping. Kind of like the original. Yes, dude. Yes. But then, see how it's like, once they get assigned, See, because it's like they're never, they're never stopping flapping. We need to set our flap counter upon jumping. For the same reason we did our Y down here. So that we only set our flap counter once, then jumping is false. Hopefully that'll cause them to come to the floor. Nope. They just really like flapping. There's too many ones. Let me just see. Because it's like, the original is like tap 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 tap. Okay, look at that. Our jump counter isn't being decremented. Our jump counter is not being decremented properly. So we say if we're flapped gets true upon every flapped gets true. Okay, fucking goddamn it. This is so close. Okay. This is wrong. Flapped. This needs to also be, if we're jumping, set our flap to true so that we're only flapped once. And that should allow us to come down to the ground every once in a while. Oh, come on. Stop flapping so much. Our flapped timer isn't getting decremented correctly. Our flap counter, because that's what we're printing up, right? Yeah, our flap counter is what we're printing up. But our flap counter isn't decrementing right. If we're flapped, so when are we flapped is false? Like, if we do this to be 0.5, does that mean a longer flap? Because it should, like a longer downwards. Oh, look at that, it just did it once. Did you see that? It only kept the longer flap counter for the one frame. So why is it? We must be overriding flap counter somewhere. Or not. Okay, I just want to see then. I just want to see flapped. That's weird. Anytime the wings are down, it should be flapped. It only did it that first time. She's really strange to me. Okay. We're flushing. Flapped, we decrement this. If flap counter is smaller than 0, stop being true, reset flap counter to 0. And that the next time we jump will be true, at which point flap will be true, at which point flap counter gets a new. I don't get why this is not decrementing properly. Oh, look at here. We're doing shit here. Yeah, we don't want this. Fuck. Why do we... I want to see what happens if we take out this whole block of code. Not self-grounded. Set our viewport to upward swing thing, but then if we're jumping, see, this is where we get fucked, because it's not if we're jumping. Why are we even doing this? Why are we even doing this? We don't really care for that. But if we're flapped, we set our thing to this. Maybe this is where we decrement our flap counter. Because this is where we increment time between jumps. And that's where we ultimately set our flapped to false. But the time between jumps... See, this is fucked. We shouldn't be... This is where it's messing up. We shouldn't be doing this. Because here we're incrementing our time between jumps. But... Yeah, I don't know why we were doing that. But here we're decrementing our time between jumps, so it's just like, that's why we're never doing anything. So if we're flapped, we set the viewport, and then if the time between jumps is greater than 2, we don't want that. We need to set, if we're flapped, we need to set flap to false if the flap timer is greater than 2 or whatever, but I thought we were doing that already. I thought we were... See how we're decrementing flap counter here. I want to say we move all this shit closer to the other stuff so I can just see it better. Here. Now we're saying if we're not grounded, do our down flap viewport. However, if we're flapped, then overwrite that with our downwards flap. But then, when do we set flap to false? Right here on flap counter, so we shouldn't need this. Let's try that. I'm looking for that true to get flushed to false. It is not. Self-dot flapped is not getting false, but if we're flapped, we're decrementing our flap counter. We're only setting our flap counter. So what is our flap counter? I don't get why that's not decrementing properly. It's getting reset. Flap counter's getting reset higher. It can't be getting reset higher here because we're not jumping, but jumping gets true. Oh, you know what? Right there. Sneaky, sneaky, sneaky. So yeah, we need to... If flapped... Fuck, how do we do this? This is the same problem. You guys see what the problem is? We're trying to decrement a flap counter. Fucking goddamn it, let me explain this. The problem is this jumping is hard-coded. Because with this, if we set our jumping to true when the time between jumps is greater than 0, close, guys, we're close. I just need to look at this. It's almost like we need to say time between jumps. Like, when do we assign a new jump? It depends on the time between jumps that we're assigning. So like if we have a thing called just jumped, and we set our jumping to true if just jumped, and then we would set jumping to false right after that, because we would need to do a couple things like instantiate a flap counter that doesn't get changed depending on the time between jumps. Yeah, I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna say we have a new boolean called just jumped, and just jumped gets true if we just jumped. Let's say self.justJumped gets false. Now we have we need to say something like here if we're just jumped. Then we need to do a couple things like set our flap to true, set our dy to the appropriate jumping dy, set our flap counter only once, set our just jumped back to false. So The jumping isn't so much important. The jumping is more like triggering. I don't know why we need jumping, to be honest. Our jumping isn't doing shit. So jumping, fucking, let me just try something. Yeah, right now our jumping isn't doing shit. But it's getting set to true. Okay. Our jumping just means, hey, we need to flush our jumping to false at some point, because we're never doing that. So when does jumping become false? It's when a new yeah, you know what? This is so jacked. This is jacked. Okay. I think this actually needs to go in just jumped, because we're also assigning a random jump and then overriding it. So yep, and then we're turning it to false. So yeah, let's turn off our jumping. We'll turn off our jumping, and we'll turn on our just jumped, because now we're actually flushing that to false, and we're flushing our just jumped to false right after we assign a time, assign flapped, assign our upward velocity and our flap counter. That should fix some stuff. Now we should be decrementing that jump counter appropriately now. And we're not. It's still getting reset higher. So bro, this is the same freaking problem. This is the same problem. I keep talking myself in circles. Because if we do a flag upon our time between jumps, that'll be true. So just jumped is true, but just jumped doesn't get. Just jumped is getting overwritten with true when it doesn't. It shouldn't be. So it's almost like we need to say, that's the problem. Right where I've highlighted. Because it's since I think we just need to fix our time between jumps. Like, we need to say, oh God. Because we can't overwrite just jumped with true in this loop. That's what's given us all these freaking problems. So it's like, if our time between jumps is smaller than 0, so right here, we're decrementing our time between jumps at all times. But we only want to decrement it if we're jumping. Is that right? Really stumped on this. It's like we need to say very confused on what to do. I keep getting the same problem, and it's because of this time between jumps logic. So like upon a vulture jumping, it needs to decrement its flap counter, which it seems to be doing, but since it's resetting its flap counter to 0.5. Okay, I think feel like we need a jumping, and we need to say no. We can't set this boolean here. We just can't. Because this is true. So how do we determine the time between jumps? How do we determine that? Well, we have to finish the jump. Okay. We need to finish the jump. So we need to compare. Yeah, we need a jump timer. That starts when we get assigned a time between jump, and it gets flushed to false when it's 0. And let's try that. So we're gonna give ourselves a timer, and it's a jump timer. We're starting it at 0. We're just initializing it. Now we're gonna say what's going on here? Okay. See, we don't want time between jumps. We need to assign. We need to assign. You know what? Let's assign maybe like 3 seconds before. Here, jump timer is 1. Okay. We started at 1, and then we say if jump timer is greater than 1. Where are we? We're gonna say if jump timer is greater than 0, then we're gonna be decrementing our jump timer. same freaking problem, dude. This is the same freaking problem. But actually, because this is to assign our time between jumps. Oh, see, and that's the same freaking problem, because we can't store it. We can't store it until. Oh wait. I think we need something other than a if statement. This is jacked. So how are we assigning the time between jumps? We want a number, we want these numbers to be randomly assigned, and then we want that number to decrement, and only when that number's 0 or smaller than 0, like this. If it's smaller than 0, that's when we want to assign a new time between jumps. But actually, yeah, if it's the time between jumps is smaller than 0, trigger a just jumped. Jumped will become, time between jumps will become another random number above 0. Then we're still just jumped and we're flapping. Okay, let me try that. So now if we're, oh, but look at, yeah, we don't. If we just jumped, so when do we decrement our time between jumps every frame regardless, so I think this might work. So we're trying to see if this number gets decremented properly, and it's not. It's getting reset somewhere, and it's getting reset upon being just jumped. But if it's just jumped, we set it once. Set just jump to false, so it shouldn't keep going up. And we are printing our flap counter. So there must be another place where our flap counter is getting overridden. And there's 6 matches. Most of them are right there. So if we're just jumped, we give ourselves a flap counter, stop just jumping. And if we're flapped, we're decrementing our flap counter, which should be right. And then if our flap counter is smaller than 0, we're no longer flapped, and we reset our flap counter to 0. So why is our flap counter not getting decremented properly? Something's happening to our flap counter that is... Does flapped get set to false any other time than this? I gotta do my B-reel for the day. Does our flapped counter get set What was I just thinking? Like, for some reason, and if you look at the image, you know, our flapped is not getting reset. So yeah, I mean, we need to fix our flapped. See, and that's, our flapped is jacked. For sure, yeah, because it's never getting reset. So why is our flapped so jacked? We're decrementing. Yeah, flapped is jacked because we're not. Here, or equal to 0. That might help reset it. Decrement our flap counter. See, and anytime we fucking jump, anytime our just jumped is true, our flap should be true. So why doesn't it get populated the very first jump? It doesn't get set to true, which is weird to me. And then it doesn't get wiped. Stumped. Is happening. Like now they're not flapping like they used to, you know? It was so close to working. What the fuck is going on? What is going on? How come all of a sudden flapped becomes true and never falls? If we're just jumped and we're just jumped, see, that's why we're fucking up, man. We're just overriding it. And for that's, yeah. It's because of this freaking line right here. It's because of this freaking line. Because anytime the time between jumps is greater than 0, so how do we trigger? It's almost like we need a recursive thing here. Like we need anytime this gets assigned to be a new number. Anytime that gets to be a new number, we reset our just jumped, but not reset just jumped anytime it's greater than 0. So time between jumps can be assigned there. God damn it. It's the same problem I keep running into. I think we need to just do something different other than this time between jumps greater than 0 nonsense. So like, we need to, we take a random number, that becomes our time between jumps. Then we need to say, yeah, because we don't want to assign a random time between jump anytime time between jumps. Oh, it's smaller than 0 though. Yeah, smaller than 0. So we're only doing it when the time between jumps gets flushed or gets past 0. So if the time between jumps... Okay, so let's... Yeah, we're only just jumped. Let's see if our just jumped is working right. It should be true for a split second right when we jump every time. Our just jumped is not working. And that means... Motherfucker. Do we have another line somewhere where we're screwing with our time between jumps? Let's start at 0, so that will do it right away. Yeah, Jesus. Bro, what the fuck? So if our time between jumps is smaller than 0, we assign us a new time between jump that we're then just jumped. And if we're just jumped, we say, okay, we're flapped. We give us this, set our flap counter, set our just jumped back to false, so this doesn't run through many more. But our just jumped is jacked. And we're only doing just jumped right here, right? Just jumped. This is the only spot we do our just jumped. So we say we only set our just jump to true if our time between jumps is smaller than 0. So let me time between jumps. We really need a C. Watch this. We put some big ass numbers in here and see if they decrement. It's true, they do. They do decrement. So okay, so this is wrong. We're not just jumped when we assign a new jump time because it's a time between jumps. It's almost like we need to say, how can we do this? You know, we're actually not just jumped upon this being 0. We're just the end of our jump. It's like end of jump being true. And then once that's true, yeah, it's like the end of jump being true. So if I do just jumped back here, treat it as the end of jump, does that make sense? Like logically. Oh, this is disheartening. Just give it 3. Just jump this getting overwritten somewhere, dude. It's getting overwritten right away. So yeah, we can't print this out, but we could print okay, well that makes sense that that's messing up now. I mean, just the debugging at least, but what if we put the flap counter here? Okay. It's not defaulting to the fucking god damn it. We had it where they were flapping, you know, and then they got stuck, but we're just freaking wrong still. We're not doing the default flapped. So where did we do flap counter? If it's flapped, we decrement our flap counter. don't seem to be getting stuck on flapped anymore. So what if we give ourselves the big list of times? Okay. Then they never stop flapping. And why do they never stop flapping? If I print out the time between jumps now, I don't know why that's not working. If we... Why does it not stop flapping? Because we're assigning time between jumps to be values. We're decrementing those values, and we're only assigning a new one. So that should decrement to 0 before it gets assigned again. So if these are, look, if we do like a 1, 2, and 3, it should go to 0, which it does. Then it gets either 1, 2, and 3. So that's working. So is it that we just have way too many smaller ones? It's like if we had a 1, 2, and 3, and then a 0.3, a 0.5. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, these ones override it. The fast ones override it. So it's like if we had a lot of ones, or it's like, first of all, okay, here, so look, if we do, I just want to see what a 0.2 time between jumps looks like. And this should be a constant 0.2 time between jumps. No, that's like a... What the fuck? Why would it be different? It should be 0.2, right? It should be 0.2 and go down to 0, and then it should jump again. 0.2, go down. Okay, so this is a 0.2, which is probably the fast end. You know, we need a little more y velocity. But 0.2 is pretty fast. Yeah, that's okay. Okay. So 0.2 gets us that fast, but we don't want just 0.2. We want sometimes 0.2, sometimes longer. So that's where this comes in. So if 0.2 is our fast end, and we say 0.2, 1, 2, 3, and then we just do another 1, 2, 3, and another 1, 2, 3. 0.2 should be pretty rare. This is getting close, though. This is getting close, because we need... Yeah, we need like a, you know, another faster one. And then maybe less... Well, let's see what that looks like, giving it one more faster one. See how... You know, that's not bad. That's not bad. It's not bad at all. I think I'm okay with this. Let's look at the original. See how crazy they're flapping. It's like, let's watch for speed of flaps. see, they flap like a little more. They're going a little bit faster than I have mine going. That's looking pretty close, though. It's looking pretty close. You know, it needs to be a bit faster, so the fast end needs to be a bit faster, but the slow end's pretty fine. So it's like if this was a 0.1 and a 0.2, plus all of our slower ones. Now we should be a bit faster when we're fast. The 0.1 may be too much. I think it needs a couple more, or like maybe less ones. And maybe a 4 in there, I don't know. Because we want it to land and hit the floor every once in a while, you know? So maybe this 2 should also be a 3. This 2 could be another 3, I don't know. Because we want them to be able to get to the bottom floor by not jumping every once in a while, which it looks like they can. But then we also want to make sure they can go up to the next level too. This is looking pretty good. I want to see if they can get up to another level, which I think they can. It's just... This is pretty good. Okay. This is pretty good. Okay, I want to switch our atlas back to our normal one. We'll have to take out that pink butt now that it's fixed, which we'll just do that right now. Go back to our vulture atlas 1. We'll go eyedropper green pencil tool, give us a green butt again. We'll save this, and then we'll save... Oops. We'll save our Vulture 2 Atlas outside of our Git repository so we don't have to commit it. But if we want to troubleshoot this kind of stuff again, we can just pull it up again. So this is our Vulture Atlas 1. We're saving that. Now it should be fixed in our game, but I need to go into our repo and cut our copy, or what do I do? Copy this. Just put it on the desktop, I guess. Vulture Atlas. Borders. And then we'll delete it from our repo. And we'll run it again without the borders and just look at our handiwork. Let's also take out the debugging for now. Now we can just admire our handiwork. So we got vulture to vulture collision detection. We've got more game accurate flapping for the vultures. They can go from the bottom tier to the middle tier if it so happens to be right, you know. And they can also sync to the next platforms. It just depends on their random jumping, right? Like, see how the third tier one just got down to the second tier, and then just down to the first tier, but it's not as likely for them to get up to another tier. So maybe, you know, we'll give them a bit here and see if they make their way up the platform, because I think right now they're more likely to make their way down the platforms than up. Yeah. So either we need to give them a higher jumping velocity. Yeah, I think we need to give them a slightly higher jumping velocity so they can make it out from the bottom tier once in a while, you know, because they're just not jumping enough to get out of there. Yeah, we'll give them a bit more Y velocity and maybe a little less time, you know, maybe like a 0.5 in here somewhere. And then we'll give them a bit more velocity. 25% more velocity. Now, I'll just see if they can get... You know, I think we should get rid of the bounding. I think we should get rid of the borders, the buffer. See, because that shouldn't move them up like that. That side collision with a platform shouldn't move them up. Now they're not really reaching the bottom. Yeah, they are. Okay, I think this needs to be a 1 again. But I want to see, or I want to say that our side collision detection... Yeah, let's look at our side collision detection on our platforms for our ostriches. And we don't set our Y, so that means we were probably detecting a bottom collision instead of the side collision. So let's just... I want to just take out the buffer on our right collides with a platform and left collides with a platform, because I don't want them shifting Y positions when they hit the side of a platform. See, like that. I don't get why he did that. I thought what I just did would fix that. But that tells me it might be detecting a bottom collision. That's weird. You asshole. I don't see that issue too often. Well, like, look, oh, if they just barely, or like they collide with the platform, it shifts their Y. Yeah. See, I don't want that. I want them to just swap directions because there was a collision detected. This is so close, though. See, like that. Why does it do that? It resets its Y. So when do we reset our Y? Upon collision. When do we do that? Probably upon a bottom collision, right? We set our Y upon a top collision and a bottom collision. So does our bottom collides have any buffer whatsoever? No. So I think that just tells me that we need to check for side collision before bottom collision. And that should fix the problem. But if we're already doing that, I don't know what to fix, so we'll just see. Yep, we're doing bottom collision first, which we don't want to do. We'll do the side collisions before we do bottom collision, and that should fix that problem. And we can probably also give us the... No, we don't want to. If we give ourselves the buffer, then it would detect the bottom collision before the side collision and then reset our Y, so we need that taken out. But now it shouldn't reset. Perfect, yeah. They shouldn't reset their Y, they should just bounce. Yep, just like that. And then, so we'll just watch this for a bit. Oh, did you see that? That's wrong, that's wrong. It detected a side collision before it detected... Oh, shit. It detected the side collision before the bottom collision, so it didn't set the ground properly. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You gotta pick the lesser of two evils. Fuck, man. What do we do? Yeah, either... So it was detecting a side collision instead of a bottom collision, which is technically true. That's why it reset its X. So how do we do that? How do we make sure that's not the case? See, we don't want that. We don't want that bottom collision. So maybe we do need the buffer. And we need to check bottom collision second. We do that. Then let's just try it, I guess. I'm gonna cut this, put it after our side collisions. And then I'm gonna give us the buffer back on our left and right collisions, which I need to cheat and look at what we had done in the past. We did on the right collides, we give it a buffer divided by 2. Then the left collides gets a minus buffer 2. So now that we're checking okay, let's see if we get any of the weird stuff now. Yep, we do. Fuck. Even more so. Way even more so. Fucker. See, look at how bad that was. Oh, God. It's almost like we need to reset. What the fuck are we doing? Oh, God. Yeah, we need to turn this... Fuck, we'll have to do this another episode. I think... I don't know. It's a little confusing to me why our ostrich isn't having this problem. Oh, but the vultures are. Oh, look at here. Bottom collides right here. We're setting our Y right here. Oh, but for the ground platform. Okay. Did I take the buffers out? I did. Let's see if we get some jank stuff. We should get some jank stuff upon like a bottom collision. Yeah, just like that. Fuck. So weird that it's so close but still not right. Need them to get up, get up, get up. Fly upwards. They're not getting up. Well, we're close. I think we need to give ourselves a couple more. You know, another fast one to help them get up. That's so jacked. That's so jacked. So yeah, if they get a... Fuck, what is that? If they bottom collide... it's because the bottom collide's checked after. God damn it. Yeah, we need to check the... we need to fix... I think we do need to check... Let's move our bottom collides back to the top. And see exactly how bad it is. Like what exactly... It's like the bottom collides at the top provides less buggy shit than at the bottom, but it's still not right. So I think what we need to do next episode is do like we did for the vulture to vulture collision, where we check not AABB collision for the whole vulture, but for the left side of the vulture. And that way we can say, well, like, let's see, it's not really messing up anymore. It's just that sometimes it will set its Y, or it'll set its X sometimes to the end of the platform. I'm not mad at this. The fact that we got 3 vultures on different levels tells me we got a good kind of middle ground of the jumping to falling. You know, I'm not too mad at this. That's fucked up, though. They should, because I haven't actually seen them walk. Yeah, I haven't actually seen them walk once they start flying. So, let's see if we can fix that. I guess that means they're never becoming grounded. But we are setting we need to set grounded to ground if check grounded is true, so and then also upon see we are setting grounded to true upon a bottom collision, but I'm not seeing them start walking. They should be able to walk and stand, but they're not. Right? Right? See, they shouldn't bump like that. The bottom, what is the bottom collision doing? It's doing exactly what it should. Setting their height to 24. Oh, you know what though? The sprite is different though. We don't have a grounded. We need to set our viewport to be our walking animation. If we're grounded, so is our grounded ever becoming true? It's never becoming true? Yeah. Fuck. Let me double check that they can walk and fly. Pretty sure they can. Yeah, they walk and they fly. So why are they not walking? Their grounded is never being set to true, which means their viewport's never getting set. So when do we... Bottom collides with ground platform, they get grounded true. And then they get grounded true upon that. But then when is grounded must be getting set false somewhere. If we're not grounded with the current ground, then we're not grounded. Grounded. Dude, this should work. Then we say, if we're not moving, okay, that's fine. If we're grounded, that sets our viewport. So why are they not grounded? They never become grounded. Let me see. I want to see. They never become grounded. They should be grounded, you sons of bitches. If you collide with the bottom, you should become grounded. I'm sorry. So are we not populating the ground table with the ground they collide with? Upon a bottom collision. Upon a bottom collision, we need to assign here. This is what's wrong. We need to assign just like in our ostrich class when there is platform collision. When there's a bottom collision, we need to assign ground platform like that. Now please just walk when you get a bottom. Yes, yes, yes. Nice. Nice. They don't do it too often, but they do it. Okay, let me see. Nice. I don't know how that got deleted. We're doing it for the ground platform, but we're not doing it for other platform. Okay. I feel like I need to give our highest value, or actually, I want them to walk a little bit more, you know, just a tiny bit. So like, they either need a higher, like one less of these. Let's see. I'm gonna turn off the debugging again. Okay. I want to see him walk a bit more. Okay. Weird to me that they all got so close. Like they're all in one freaking line right now. Curious if that happens again if I run it. Like if it is it the same logic every time? They should have their be a little upwards biased, so we should, well, I want to see if that top one gets to the bottom anytime soon. I think we need a little bit longer of a knot jump on the high end there. So when we do it would help if I'm in the right freaking, yeah, here, maybe 5 instead of 4. And now there's a 1 in 12 chance or whatever, it'll take 5 seconds to jump. Okay. They can make it to the top tier here soon. I think it's good. But, well, yeah, check it. Oh, he didn't make it. Make it to the top tier, come on. It's like we need another faster one and another slower one. Almost, but not so slow. I don't know. I feel like we need another faster one. And then... This is so super nitpicky. I just want to feel good about the consistency of their heights and stuff. Like, see, I hate that. That should have been a side collision, not a bottom collision. Pretty good about this, actually. Yeah. This is pretty good. So yeah, next episode, I'm still not happy with that side collision. See how it moved it up there? It shouldn't have been a side collision. Shouldn't have been a bottom collision, should have been just a side collision. Which is confusing to me because it's so pristine on mine. It's like so perfect on the vulture, but it just is jacked on it's pristine on the ostrich and it's jacked on the vulture. So I'm kind of curious what the order of operations is. So when we do the collision platforms for us, we do top collides, then bottom, then left and right. If we do it for vulture, we do bottom. It's close. I mean, I don't think this will change anything with that. We do top and then bottom and then oopsie. So look, we do top, bottom, left and right, top, bottom, left, right, top, bottom, left, right. Now, okay, we're not swapping. Yeah, we are. Okay, swapping DX. Okay, so look at the difference here. We're saying if right collides with platform, our DX is right collides with platform. See, we shouldn't need this. We're not doing this. If it's greater than 0, DX is greater than 0, bounce it left. Yeah, we are. We're setting it. We don't set our X position, though. We don't set our X. We just reverse it. So how come we do that? I'm just gonna straight up copy the ostrich logic here into our vulture and see if that fixes it. Because we're doing this thing where we're saying if our dx is moving to the right, swap our dx, and that's it. But we shouldn't actually need that first line where we're checking to see if it's greater than 0.1. Oh, see, that shouldn't be happening. Okay, I'm gonna trust my gut and tell me that I'm actually good to delete this. But we do need to reverse our dx if our dx is positive. I'm looking for a semi high up side collision on a platform from a vulture to right like that on the where it resets, and then I'm actually gonna be printing out. Oh god, I can't even do it. It's gonna take because I'd have to cycle through every single platform to see if it collides with any platform. I really don't know. I think we just need, look at this. If we've got our bottom collides on our vulture, see, look at this. Our bottom collides doesn't have the buffer when I think it needs it. So we'll give our vulture the bottom collides buffer, and maybe that'll fix our problem finally. Let's try it. So we're looking for a semi-hot, like the vulture to collide right here and see if it resets its Y position, which it shouldn't. It should just bounce us. Come on, get a collision. Look, 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 look. Yes, it should bounce, not reset our Y. That was about the sweet spot. So I'm feeling actually pretty good about that. In the sense that, like, maybe that's fixed now. Because it shouldn't be any different than our freaking ostrich. We're the same everything, you know? I haven't seen that Y resetting issue since we fixed that, or since we changed that. Sorry. That was a little weird. Detected a side collision there, but that's okay. I mean, I guess it's not okay. You know, other than that side collision I just saw from the bottom, I think I'm happy with that. It does check top collision first, so I don't get why that side collision would have went off. But that's looking right, dude. Now we've got more game accurate flapping now. Okay, last test before we commit. Well, yeah, we're gonna touch up our code a bit before we commit to, but I just want to see if these two can make it out of the bottom here. Hopefully they can fly up to the next levels, and if they can't, we need to tweak it more. Okay, they can make it out of the bottom. As long as they can make it to the top. Yep. Yeah, man. All right. Okay. I think I'm happy with that. They can make it to the top. Doesn't take them too long either. And they seem pretty well balanced, flapping and walking every once in a while, which is good. Okay. So, I'm gonna clean up. We're gonna take out this self-jumping. We're gonna find any other use of this jumping. Delete it. Any other. We can take out all this shit. Gross, man. Make sure that didn't bust any, and that couldn't have busted anything. It was all comments. Okay. I do want to under where we're assigning here, all this. So we're gonna put a 1 in here. We're gonna take out this one. And then that's now in alphabetical order. Or, you know, size order. Okay. And then just trying to tidy up the code before the commit, you know? Okay. I'm okay with this. Other than that random bounce sound from a bottom or from a top collision randomly, I only heard it once, and it was like right on the edge of being not colliding, so I'm not too worried about it. Especially because it didn't change its DX. It gave it the appropriate DX, which would have been a big problem if it didn't. But since it does, I think I'm okay. This is sick. This is so cool. Nice. So I'm just gonna watch these guys a little bit, make sure they can get out the bottom still. And then we'll call it a day. Nice. And it's random, so it's like there's not even a guaranteed time that they'll come out, but they are making their way up. I guess they're just slightly bottom biased. give ourselves one more 0.5 and see how that helps the flow of them. No one has made it to the top yet, which they don't make it to the top too often. There we go. Oh, he didn't make it. He almost did. There we go. No! He didn't make it. Lots of little tweaks. I don't know how to do the AI other than this, though. I'm just going to see if they make it to the very top here in, like a minute or so. If they can't make it in a minute, then we need to change something. We also need to see about how much DY we get, the original game gets from a flap. See if that's close or not. Because they still haven't made it up to the top layer here. It is the trickiest layer to get to, though. This one's trying. Too much. Now that guy's just hugging the freaking top. I'm gonna see about how much DY it looks like each flap gives the vulture in the original here. Make sure it's similar. See, it lands on my goddamn head. They flap like freaking mad. They flap like mad, to be honest. Yeah, they flap like mad. We'll tweak that. We'll tweak that later. We'll get that more game accurate. Like, we've got it. It's just a matter of tweaking now. I think that's okay. Just want to make sure the top one doesn't always hug the top like that. Like, why is he flapping so much? They're all just freaking flapping all the way. Bro. They didn't used to do this. Okay, I think this is fine for now. That's okay. Okay. I think we're good. Good for a commit. So, let me just make sure we don't have... It says we did modify the Atlas PNG, which is cool. Even though the file name didn't change, Git realized that the bits checksum was different, so that's kind of cool. But we're trying to add everything with a commit message saying fixed vulture flapping AI and vulture platform. Okay, and we're gonna get up. Sweetness. So tomorrow we did this. Yeah, tomorrow we need to maybe see if we can make the vultures flap like mad. That's DX, so it's about the... Sorry guys, I have to pee, which is why I'm dancing. And then we fixed the collision, so I think that's all we have left. Is making them flap like mad with less DY. So I gotta pee so bad. I'm gonna stop recording, okay? See you guys.